A recent experience that you have had with this person, it might have been a conversation or like a face to face interaction, has helped them to see you from a different perspective. Something where it feels like they thought you were cute, they thought you were attractive, they thought that you were sweet, they liked you, they sense a lot of potential between the two of you. But something that has recently occurred with this energy of challenge your perception is helping them to see that, like, the potential between the two of you, things could escalate into something way more serious very quickly. This is somebody who is now seeing your worth and value, not just in terms of like how you satisfy their physical desires or potentially like emotional desires, desires for partnership or to get to know someone, but they have come to discover that like you're a very quality human being. You're a very compassionate person. You have a big heart. You lead with your heart. You lead with love. And there's a sense that it's kind of like dawned on this person, sort of like, why are you single? Why would anyone kind of like overlook someone like you? And they're not looking at this in like a judgmental way, like, oh, what's wrong with you? Why are you single? But they're thinking of like anyone that might have fumbled you or, walked away or chose not to pursue you in the past, that those people were fools. They were idiots. And so it's left the door wide open for this person to come forth and to explore something more with you. So it feels like this is somebody that is now, they were interested, but they're now like very serious about like, okay, I really want to put some effort in here. I really want to take the time to try and do things right between the two of us, or to be very present and very attentive, very mindful with how I'm like showing up in our interactions with one another, because they see you as like a rare, unique, special individual. And there's a sense of like, if there's a chance for this potential or this connection as it is right now between the two of us to develop into something more meaningful, then that's something that they definitely feel is like a good investment on their part. We also have surrender to the flow. Yeah, so this is somebody that if they had just been like keeping their options open, they may be disconnecting or distancing themselves from anyone else that they were like chatting with, talking to. Even just this energy of kind of like scanning the horizon and sort of like, yeah, I'm looking for love. I'm looking to date. I'm looking to get into a relationship. I'm looking to meet someone. And that kind of like open minded perspective, again, something recently that you have said or that you have done, or like an interaction that you've had with one another, it's helped this person to sort of hone their focus onto you more exclusively. This is somebody it feels like that wants to show up in a more excited way than they have already. They may have been sort of nonchalant, or it could just be early on in your interactions with one another. This might even be something where they've never expressed those feelings. They're just kind of like crushing on you from afar, or sort of like, yeah, they're cute, they're interesting, they're attractive. But now all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, they're switching into this like secret admirer mode, where they're wanting to kind of like get in where they fit in, and as far as like the potential with you is concerned. This is somebody that feels with this energy of ladybugs. Ladybugs may be very significant. You may be seeing ladybugs a lot, or that could have some sort of symbolic meaning for you, personally, or in regards to this connection. But it almost feels like this person feels like it was their lucky day when they encountered you, or like they would be the lucky one, to be in a connection with you. They don't see themselves as kind of like, I'm the prize and you got to chase me. But there's something that has kind of like changed their perspective about you. Like, no, you are worth the effort. You are worth the attention to detail. You're worth consistency. You're worth more than I've been putting down in this connection so far. So this is somebody it feels like that is gearing up, to kind of surrender to the process, to not listen to any doubts or fears, to be very proactive in terms of like bridging that distance between the two of you in whatever ways it exists at this point. We also have share your thoughts. Yeah, so this is somebody that definitely wants to talk to you. They want to get to know you. They want to open up more. This is somebody that also wants to express like their appreciation for something that you've said, something that you've done, something that you've shared about yourself, maybe without even meaning to. That may be kind of the segue between where you're at right now and kind of getting their foot in the door in terms of closer interactions with one another. You know, bringing that as sort of the excuse, almost the reason to reach out and talk to you, or the focus of sort of like what they put their attention on in order to kind of get that conversation going between the two of you. If there's been like few interactions or very little interactions. But if this is somebody that you're like actively kind of like talking to, maybe you've gone out on dates with, this is somebody that, wants to kind of like see you more regularly, see you more often. They want to follow up on experiences with one another, not with this kind of like, period of time where it's like, well, I'm going to wait a couple of days before I reach out, or, I'm just going to kind of like keep my distance, keep things casual. This is something where it's like they want to increase that frequency of communication. They want to talk to you daily. They want to talk to you regularly. They want to at least check up with you and like check in on you on a more frequent basis than has been the case up to this point in time. We also have courage. Yeah, so this is somebody who feels like the idea of something developing between the two of you romantically, that could lead to a very empowered connection. That you have, again, sort of like displayed something about yourself. Maybe this was a boundary you put in place, but it feels like it was something that you expressed that was like very authentic, something you shared, maybe even not with them personally. It could have been like something that you posted on social media that was very personal. It was very telling about sort of like your perspective, things that you've been through, your interests, who you are as a person, like your inside world, things like that, that has piqued this person's interest, to where you're not just an individual that it's kind of like, okay, well, they're an option, but this is somebody that is like, if I step forward to you with courage, confidence, certainty, and consistency, you feel like the kind of person that I could have a very beautiful experience with romantically, a very empowered experience with romantically. It's something that's like a quality about you that has always been sort of a desire in partnerships, but they never knew really how to put that to words. So they weren't able to kind of manifest that with other people, or they had to go through a series of lessons, or like the opposite of this kind of thing, this quality, this sort of act of bravery or courage that was like demonstrated on your part, maybe without even knowing it, in order to come to a place of sort of knowing what it is that they don't want in romance, to be able to identify through what you have just shared or showcased, what it is that they do want. So this is somebody that wants to use their voice. They want to speak up. They want to speak that truth. They want to breathe life into this connection, rather than sitting by and, waiting and kind of like letting you potentially become somebody else's blessing. This is somebody that's like, I feel very empowered, very, very courageous in the face of sort of like whatever could develop between the two of us. We also have time to reflect. Yeah, so this person's thinking about you a lot at this particular point in time. Again, you've like piqued their interest. You've alerted them in some sort of way to something that might not have been so obvious about you, an aspect about you that on the surface, like, what meets the eye, this is something that wouldn't have been sort of assumed about you. And now that they have this kind of like information, or they've seen this, they've seen you kind of act in this way, behave in this way, do this thing, say this thing, it has given them sort of like a reason to kind of sit and think, like, what are the other ways in which they might have made certain assumptions about you that are perhaps not true? What are the ways in which they had sort of had a particular kind of focus about what they were looking for at this time in their life, romantically speaking, kind of nonchalant, and how you have showed up that may make this person have to become very serious about like, okay, I don't want to come in and like waste your time. I don't want to come in with uncertainty, because it feels like if I take a step forward towards you, what you've displayed, what you've demonstrated, it speaks to like a no nonsense kind of energy. So if this is somebody that's like keeping their options open, again, there's a sense of sort of like, you deserve exclusivity. You deserve that kind of like singular focus, at least as they are kind of like trying to proceed forward with you, which it feels like is causing them to sort of think about other kind of plans, or their idea of sort of where dating and romance was factoring into their life up to this point in time. We also have focus and then act. Yeah, so this is again somebody that wants to break the ice between the two of you. They want to speak their truth. They want that communication, that Ace of Swords energy. They want to go beyond kind of whatever the dynamic, the understanding is between the two of you at this point. Maybe this is somebody that has just been kind of like a face in the crowd, like a casual observer, somebody that you may be aware of, but you don't know very well, or you've not had very many interactions with them. This could just be like full secret admirer, where it's like, they observe you, you don't really like know who they are, know much about them. You may sense you've got a secret admirer, but they're kind of just like lurking in the shadows. This person wants to like come forward, and express themselves like, hi, nice to meet you, this is who I am, or in some sort of way kind of present more of an authentic version of themselves, so that they have a fighting chance to be able to kind of like earn a place in your life, because they see you as somebody, again, that brings this like very rare, unique quality to the table that has changed their perception of you and their perspective of like who you are, or who they might discover you to be if they were able to kind of get access to more of those like intimate discussions, or one-on-one time with you in some sort of way. Whatever this is that has recently happened, it is very different than like the surface level impression, what people might just kind of assume about you at first glance. And this is something that is very like pleasing, very intriguing, very enticing, very attractive to this person. So as they get ready to come forth, or they open up, speak their truth, you meet them, they make a point to kind of put themselves in your path, so that it's kind of like, yeah, you're going to meet me, or I'm going to say something. I'm going to be the one to take the lead in this situation and kind of push it forward. This is something where this person comes with almost kind of like Knight of Swords energy, very determined, very clear. They're not looking to kind of mess around or waste anybody's time, but it's sort of like they're very focused upon like, okay, I want to give this situation, I want to give you a lot more special attention, direct attention, or exclusive attention than I have up to this point in time. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. Like or comment to claim these energies. Subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more content that I put out here. Don't forget to hit the bell button to get notifications every time I post a new video. And if you would like to book a personal reading with me, I offer those through my Etsy shop, and there's a link for that below. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well.